When journalists and editors decide on what to cover, they're all essentially looking for the same thing: content that their audience will care about. In other words, content that will sell newspapers, rack up views, and drive clicks. So, if you're planning on sending out a press release or pitching the media, you need to ensure that you're offering something newsworthy. How do you do that? Take a look at the following 8 news values and see how many you can hit with your pitch or release. The more news values you're able to cover, the more likely it is that you'll get coverage. The first news value is timeliness. You have to strike while the iron is hot, while a topic is fresh, interesting, and trending. People, including journalists, move on quickly these days, so you need to grab your chance while it's there. Imagine you're trying to promote a range of snow tires. The time to reach out to the press and secure earned media is when there's a massive snowstorm. Once the storm passes, they'll be far less interested in hearing about your products or talking to your experts. Have you ever heard of the term, "if it bleeds, it leads"? The news, much like films or TV shows, is driven by conflict. Just think about your favorite show or movie. Chances are there's plenty of drama and conflict. And if you were to strip out the conflict, it'd be pretty boring. The same is true of the news. The more conflict you have, the better the story is. So, if you want coverage, give the press a story with conflict. People care about their communities, about the places where they live and work. A great way to secure coverage is to focus on the benefit or impact that something will have on a community. This is specifically true when it comes to local media. Things like community papers, local television stations, and websites focused on specific cities. Similar to the previous point, proximity has a big impact on how something is covered. The closer it is to home, the more likely it is to get coverage. Consider the example of a local transit strike. It's not going to get a lot of coverage internationally, or even nationally, but it is very important to local commuters, which means it will be covered thoroughly by local outlets. Weird is interesting. We all like those strange and unusual stories. Think UFOs, skateboarding dogs, and close encounters with wildlife. The media responds by covering them. If you can put an unusual and unexpected spin on your story, the press may just cover it, even if it's not earth-shattering news. We've already mentioned that great stories, including news stories, have conflict. They also have human emotions. Stats and data are great, but you need a human angle. Think about those reports from war zones and disaster areas we see on television. They always include stories about people on the ground who are feeling the impact firsthand. We're all wired to respond to human emotion, which is why great stories always include this. Who doesn't love a bit of celebrity gossip? Celebrities fascinate the public, which is why you'll have no problem securing coverage if you can guarantee the involvement of someone famous. After all, there's a reason why even the biggest brands in the world still spend a lot of money on celebrity endorsements. The bigger the impact that something will have on the average person, the likelier it is that the media will cover it. The economy is a good example. With all those economists droning on about fiscal policies, national debt levels, and overnight repo rates, it's not the most riveting topic in the world. But the cost of groceries and the inflation rate have a huge impact on the public, which is why macroeconomic news always makes the cut. Next time you're getting ready to pitch the media, take another look at these 8 news values and make sure that you tick off at least 2 or 3. If you're not hitting these values, you may have a problem. Unfortunately, good companies and good products are not necessarily good stories. If you want coverage, you need to find the conflict, the drama, the human emotions, the unexpected angles, and the public impact that'll make a journalist sit up and take notice.